Is coincidence accidental? Xiefeng. Let's look at a few examples of coincidences. Lucky coincidences. On May 28, 2004, a 77-year-old woman from Poland made international headlines. She had survived 2 plane crashes, 4 train collisions, and even a shipwreck in her lifetime, all of which she miraculously escaped unscathed. Polish scientists wanted to explore why someone could be so lucky. This woman, named Barbara Rojek, had experienced numerous disasters since childhood, yet each time it seemed as if an angel was protecting her, allowing her to come through unharmed. According to the Russian newspaper Pravda, Barbara fell out of a 5th-floor window of her home onto a pile of cardboard at the age of 2 and was completely unscathed. At 10, she was crossing the street when a heavy-set man on a bicycle hit her. Barbara was fine, but the man broke his arm. At 12, a truck rushed towards her, and just as it was about to hit her, a wheel fell off, causing the truck to veer off the road, and Barbara narrowly escaped. The report says Barbara experienced 4 plane crashes, 7 car accidents, 12 mysterious falls from buildings or stairs, and incidents including standing on a balcony that collapsed while watching children play below, the chandelier at the Warsaw Theater falling, 2 train collisions, a gas explosion, a criminal attack, a speedboat sinking, and other disasters, yet she remained unharmed. To verify these perilous tales, Barbara kept newspaper clippings and eyewitness accounts. Based on these records, she had brushed shoulders with death 127 times in her life, making her a true miracle on Earth. The Sun, Moon, Earth, 395. The average distance between the Moon and Earth is about 380,000 kilometers, while the Sun is roughly 150 million kilometers away from Earth. Dividing the two distances, we find that the Sun is approximately 395 times farther from Earth than the Moon. The Sun's diameter is about 1.38 million kilometers, and the Moon's diameter is over 3,400 kilometers. Dividing these, the Sun's diameter is approximately 395 times that of the Moon. What a coincidental number, 395. What does this number tell us? Think about it, the Sun's diameter is 395 times that of the Moon, but the Sun is also 395 times farther from Earth. Because the distance offsets the size, these two celestial bodies appear to be the same size in the sky when viewed from Earth. Is this phenomenon a natural occurrence, or is it man-made? Where else in the universe do celestial bodies align in such a coincidence? The renowned scientist Isaac Asimov once said, "By all data and rules, the Moon should not be there." He also said, "The Moon is just large enough to cause a solar eclipse and small enough to let us see the corona." There is no astronomical reason to explain this phenomenon, it's the coincidence of coincidences. Scientist H.S. Sheldon stated, for a spacecraft to stay in orbit, it must fly at 18,000 miles per hour at 100 miles altitude. Similarly, the Moon must have precise speed, mass, and height to balance Earth's gravity and stay in its current orbit. The question is, can these conditions be purely naturally generated? There's another coincidence, the Moon always shows the same face to Earth. Why does the Moon always face Earth with the same side? Scientists say it's because it rotates on its axis at 16.56 km per hour while also orbiting Earth. The time it takes to complete one rotation matches exactly the time it takes to complete one orbit around Earth, so the Moon always shows the same side. However, the question remains, no other moons in the solar system behave this way, so why does the Moon happen to do so? Isn't this another coincidence of coincidences? The meeting before death. On July 28, 1890, King Umberto I of Italy traveled to Monza, a few miles outside Milan, to prepare for an award ceremony the next day. That evening, the king dined at a small restaurant and discovered that the owner resembled him in both appearance and physique. In conversation, they found that they were born on the same day in the same town, had the same name, married on April 22, 1868, and both of their wives were named Margarita. Both had sons named Vittorio. The restaurant opened on the same day the king was crowned, and both men received a bravery medal in 1866. The next day, the restaurant owner was accidentally shot dead, and the king was assassinated on the same day. From the above coincidences, we can clearly see that what we call coincidence is actually inevitable. Is moving across thousands of miles accidental? First, let me clarify that this is not fictional but a real event. A person named Pooh happened to read a series of articles on life. His beloved son was restless, often angry without reason, and reluctant to go to school. Pooh casually introduced these life articles to his son, who, upon reading them, completely changed, becoming calm and gaining wisdom rapidly. Pooh was grateful to the author of these life articles and often wished to repay him in some way. The author of the life articles had friends, a couple named Tai and Wan, who by some mysterious force moved to a place called Zhao where Pooh lived. Many people liked Pooh's place. Pooh's friends suggested that the author of the life articles should move to Zhao. A person named Ji crossed the ocean to Zhao and made several suggestions, also hoping that the author could move there. The author, settled in a distant foreign land, never considered moving to Zhao. One day, his wife fell ill unexpectedly. A doctor's examination found her blood pressure, heart rate, etc., were normal, but she had a high fever. With no other solution, the author jokingly said to cheer his wife, "Shall we go to Zhao?" His wife was delighted, and her illness miraculously improved. Keeping his word, the author realized that his offhand suggestion was taken seriously by his wife. With no other choice, he had to turn the joke into reality. Fortunately, he had ceased his business abroad months earlier, and moving had few attachments. In the end, he ended up moving thousands of miles to Pooh's place. A series of coincidences led to his move, and on the second day of his arrival in Zhao, one of his close friends also coincidentally showed up in Zhao, which is thousands of miles from where his friend lived. Each detail seems coincidental and accidental, but these coincidences and accidents are links in a chain of inevitability, heralding an inevitable outcome. Coincidence is a link in the chain of inevitability. Inevitable results are composed of a series of accidental events. Sandstorms, tsunamis, and earthquakes are accidental events, but they are links in the inevitable changes in Earth's ecosystem. Toothaches, sprains, and fevers seem like unrelated accidents, but they are stages in the inevitable development of a body's illness. Fights, car accidents, and suicides appear to happen by chance, but they are inevitable links caused by karma. We often say, losing wealth prevents disaster. On the surface, wealth and disaster seem unrelated, but many incidents occur where misfortune follows financial gain. A twitch in the right eye seems like a physiological phenomenon, but it may signify a future financial loss. If we don't understand the cause, the Titanic hitting the iceberg appears to be an isolated accident, but knowing the cause shows it was inevitable. Individual coincidences and accidents seem unconnected and isolated, but they are drawn together by an unseen, mysterious force, like pearls on a necklace. Each pearl is isolated and independent, but they are strung together by a single thread. We cannot call individual pearls a necklace, but when strung together, they form the whole necklace. Accident is the superficial aspect of development, it is visible, perceptible, and seemingly isolated. Inevitability is the core of development, it is invisible, imperceptible through sight, hearing, smell, taste, or touch, and can only be known through intuition. The appearance of things is determined by their essence, and accidental events are governed by the laws of inevitability. The universe is harmoniously unified by the Tao, which represents order and laws. Within the scope of these laws, everything is inevitable, there are no accidental events. The Tao governs all things in the universe, extending infinitely outward and inward. Therefore, everything that happens in the universe is not accidental but inevitable. Death is certain for everyone, this is the evolutionary law of the Tao. The ways of dying are numerous and diverse, but no matter the possibilities, they ultimately lead to an inevitable result. A seed planted in suitable soil will inevitably sprout, bloom, and bear fruit. Halley's Comet inevitably appears within Earth's visible range every 76 years. Congenital diseases will inevitably manifest at a certain time. After spring, summer must come, youth inevitably follows childhood, labor must result in harvest. If harvests were accidental, no one would work. Continuous learning inevitably raises social status, otherwise, who would want to study? Self-improvement inevitably alters the structure of life, otherwise, who would heed the teachings of saints and sages? Every accident is inevitable, and every outcome has a cause. The development of life and life is a process of programming. What you input determines the outcome. Although the ways and methods of achieving the outcome may vary and seem accidental, they are actually inevitable. For instance, death is an outcome, but the methods include passing away peacefully, illness, car accidents, battlefield casualties, drowning, burning, dying of anger, laughter, choking, trampling, suicide, and many more. The way of death is beyond our control because when a speck of dust suddenly gets into your eye, you trip over a stone while walking, your wallet is stolen on the street, you get scolded by a teacher at school, you sprain your ankle on the stairs, you get bumped by a bicycle while crossing the road, oil stains drop onto your new clothes while eating, you unexpectedly run into an old friend in a foreign place, an uninvited guest shows up at your home, or you feel inexplicably uneasy and restless. All these seemingly random events are, in reality, inevitable. There is a time-tested saying, if it's a blessing, it won't be missed, if it's a disaster, it can't be avoided. This means that everything is inevitable. In summary, take your time to reflect, and you will realize that accidents are just links in the chain of inevitability. It was we who sold our own liberty. Xiefeng. July 23, 2017. Liberty is supreme and priceless, and it is the feature of life in heaven and shows the level of a life. The more liberty, the more heavenly, the less the liberty, the more hellish. Liberty, love. For my love I will sacrifice life. Thereto I need, for liberty I will sacrifice my love. Pedify Sandor. Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry. Liberty is the greatest wealth in life. Losing it is losing life, gaining it is gaining life. So, what is liberty? Liberty is the infinite power of a life to use its eyes, ears, nose, body, mind, and tongue while acting with desire but never overstepping it. Seeing what you want is the liberty of your eyes. Hearing what you want is the liberty of your ears. Going where you want and using your hands and feet as you want is the liberty of your body. Saying and thinking what you want is the liberty of your mind, namely the liberty of your spirit and soul. The liberty of your eyes, ears, body, and mind form the liberty of your life. Those who have eyes but are forbidden to see, have ears but are forbidden to hear, have a mouth but are forbidden to speak, have feet but are forbidden to walk, have hands but are forbidden to act, and who want to lead their own lives but are banned from doing so have lives with no liberty. We will not discuss the liberty of gods, Buddha, celestials, saints, devils, monsters, or even plants and animals, we will only talk about that of humans. People have very little liberty. In other words, they rarely keep it in full. Why do we not have liberty? Because we sell it. How do we sell it? It is mainly sold through three channels or aspects. Culture, people sell themselves to traditional cultures. They accept traditional cultural values, such as the belief that people should marry when they grow up, but when they step into marriage, they sell their own liberty. Traditional culture says, never travel far from the company of parents, then the body has no liberty. Traditional culture says, love your nation and love your people. Come on. They have sold their liberty to their own nation and culture. And so on. Morality, they sell their liberty to their own values and beliefs. Party loyalists and religionists are stark examples. So-called proponents of liberty are actually kidnapped by their morality and sell their liberty to morality. If they sell their liberty to the belief in evolution, then they will not accept the value of creationism. As a result, the survival of the fittest, the law of the jungle, and winners are kings while losers are gangsters, becomes their creed of life. That it will be hard to avoid the fighting to death, and liberty can't be found anywhere. They need to remember that anyone without liberty is unable to offer it to others, just as the poor cannot bring wealth to others and ugly people cannot bring beauty to others. Mechanism: as long as there are constitutions, laws, regulations, doctrines, disciplines, contracts, and the like which restrict and bind them, people will sell their liberty to that which they set for themselves. Their state is a mechanism. They believe in their state, and they sell their liberty to their country. Marriage families are mechanisms, and as long as they consciously enter into marriage families, it is no doubt that people will sell their own liberty to the marriage family. A contract is a mechanism. When a contract is signed, liberty is sold to the contract. When we do not feel free today, we have to rethink that we have no liberty because we sold it. For that, it is as normal that we have no liberty as if we sell our house and then have nowhere to sleep. That is all our fault, and we have no excuse to complain to others. In addition to the 3 main channels to sell liberty listed above, we also have the following list of small channels through which it is sold. These include jealousy, blaming, comparing, fighting, killing, worry, fear, desire, money, power, fame, lust, and so on. As long as we are infected with any of these negative emotions or inner anxieties, or indulge in any desires, our liberty will be restricted or even lost. For example, if we fear something that restricts our liberty, then we sell our liberty to fear. When a country perpetrates a national terror policy and makes people live in fear from morning till night, then the people's liberty will be deprived completely, and they will have to live a life more like that of a dog than a human. Tracing back to the source, the country might not be bad, but the people have sold their liberty to fear. As more and more citizens of a country become willing to sell their liberty to fear, this terror policy becomes the perfect way for the state to control its people. The bondage of the individual is self-inflicted, and the slavery of all is caused by the collective. If one wants to enjoy liberty from such an environment, there is only one thing to do: escape. Where to go? To a free place. If there is no free place on the earth, escape to heaven.